Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome again to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host. By George, we're going to have quite a show today. In fact, we're going to have quite a show for the next month, for that matter, because this is Black History Month. This is Black History Month, and I think you're going to enjoy yourself. We're not going to necessarily do just one show. We're going to do the show for the entire day of February, the 7th, and throughout the 20th. We're going to have shows here, and we're going to be talking about blacks and Black Americans. And so a lot of times people say we're going to educate folks about it. There's no such thing as there is an African American, but there's also a white African. You got white African Americans and they got black African Americans. So I'm throwing that out to you to say that, but we've assimilated that situation. Okay, but we're not saying that that a lot of things have happened. It has, because as far as blacks are concerned. As far as black Africans Americans, blacks have really achieved, and they're still going through. This is the 100-year anniversary. Since the Revolutionary War, it's 250 years. They talk about the whole issue about this country, but there's been but blacks have been on the front line, trying to assimilate. And and I'm saying this to the world, for that matter, especially for this country, both blacks and whites, and anybody for that matter. We were the point persons. We became part of the whole issue of getting this country. We were in the first Revolutionary War. I mean, people talk about that, and it's in the history book. And I'll tell you point blank, if you haven't gotten your degree, you can get your degree now, and you can Google it on YouTube. you can get your degree on YouTube now. See, I mean, everything's there. Everything is there, and it's part of history. And right up front with it, we're going to be speaking to you, and hopefully there's some seniors looking, and everybody across the board, both the elderly folks who happen to be black, but white folks and Asians, and just all Americans for that matter. And for those Native Americans, we're telling you that they say you're the first ones. They call you Native Americans. And so I've got some relatives. I got some relatives that part of that little family piece. My wife is, and she's not an Indian. She's Black American. But my point is that part of her family was that aspect of it. But anyway, as you can see, we're going to be very fluent. We're going to talk in our language, if you will. My point is keeping it simple. We're going to keep it very, very simple so we can just talk. There's no commercial ads, if you will, and the like. But we're going to try to educate you in each of the shows between now and the end of March. But then, beginning in March, we're going to start at least now. We're going to be doing something on Black Americans every month of the year, because it is. It's a fact. We're still talking about things like, and people tend to get you at the table. Yeah. In fact, last night I happened to look at a couple of movies, if you will, in the on YouTube, and the word nigger was still coming up in the military, and that type of deal, and so that was something that we thought we'd work out of, and we get a little upset when the word nigger come up, but it's part of American history. That's part of our base, if you will. And just like they've gotten all due white America, they call them crackers and stuff, and people just go back and forth. But understand, that's the United States of America. We got all these different immigrants and migrants and all kinds of folks and whatever want to come here for the big life. But the bottom line, we're all here together, and sometimes people are trying to continue to divide all of us, for that matter. So whether you're a minority of a minority group, meaning numbers, or a majority, and that majority comes in from the standpoint when you say white American, realistically, it's just a number of immigrants. You got Irish in there, you got Asian, you got all kinds of people. So my point is that it's America, okay? Got me? And so we need to understand that in a more positive form, that even though we're still talking about issues within our various cultures aspect of it, this is America. The reason I brought that up was that we just went through a situation that we need to do some research, and I'm telling you this. You can Google it now on YouTube and whatever. to find out where the whole issue of America came up, meaning English, the word English. The English got the different languages. Okay? So when someone came up with the idea, said, well, we need to come up with a language that we can all kind of identify with so we can communicate with one another. Yeah. Otherwise, we divide. Well, somebody came up with English as a first language. But now, someone came up with the idea of English as a second language. And it just so happened, and it came through from the standpoint that someone said, well, I want this country to maybe be Hispanic or Mexican. And so so now we're going into this other piece where we English as a second language that came up during that particular time. I don't know all the research, but I'm telling you, you Google it and try to find it, and if you get the information, you can get in touch with me and we can have a show. See, so if you got the background from the standpoint of where this term English as a second language came up, I'd sure like to know, because I think a lot of other folks like to know. Because in all due respect, now we got, in all due respect, we got one of our neighbors of this country is Mexico. It's a Spanish speaking, and I'm not talking about the other end there. I'm talking about Mexico, and we're right engaged now in this whole issue of illegal immigrants. No, they're part of the deal. But the fact of the matter is that whatever it is, there needs to be a discussion to assimilate these folks. We got rules and laws and regulations. Well, guess what? You educate folks. So we have to educate our neighboring country about who they are to a certain degree, and kind of figure out, well, why are they coming here that way when they can come in as one would legally, or if not, that vice versa. Because you can't go, excuse the French, in all due respect, you can't go in the neighboring country in Mexico without some papers. You can't go there. Unless you got some paper, you can't go over there. And trust me, you don't want to go in those jails. I visited them, not that I was in it, but I checked it out just to make sure. Somebody was telling me how deplorable it is to be jailed up in Mexico. And wow, hey, I tell you, you don't want to go there that way. And if you lose your visa, this, that, and the other, you got problems. Got me? Okay? So I started up that way because I wanted to make sure that we understand what we're getting ready to do here at the Oregon Voters Digest. We want to educate. Okay, and I got my guest here now with me today, Miss Scott, and you're going to know more about her. She's a, due respect, she's been there. She's been there, and she just happens to be from this community. 'Cause we're talking about Oregon, and she happens to be in this community. And today, the old saying is the definition of the community nowadays. This is the swamp. Portland is the swamp. Portland, Oregon is the swamp. We recognize the United States wide that we got all kind of problems here. In fact, we on TV. Portland is on TV every day. I thought maybe some of these this whole business now that we're having this illegal deal and all of the ICE and all this, that, and the other, and they're talking about the problems and this, that, and the other. And I thought Massachusetts or some of these other countries would take the point and take that kind of stuff off our back so we can get our city back intact. But guess what? They got us at the list at the front on the front end. Excuse the French. It's almost like using the word nigger. Whenever I start seeing progress within the black community, if you will, guess what? Somebody comes up with the word nigger, and then all of a sudden they start putting negative. Well, we don't need to do that. We need to change that. We don't need to get into the name. But understand, it's going to be there because not 100% of the people watch the show. Hopefully the media will take this and do something on where was the origin of nigger. Who brought it to the table? And why we're using it. And you can start off with the media. You can start off with those folks who were putting those movies together. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, check it out because we need to talk about it. Why not? Because it's still an issue. And we don't want our kids coming up nowadays picking up where we were in. I'm at that point in my life. I've been living with it for a long time. I'm in my young age, 88. But the bottom line is that I've gone through a lot of this stuff, but I've assimilated. And as you can see, I'm wearing my cover. I was in the Vietnam War. See, I'm throw something out to you. And the reason why I wear it is because it says something. It's a historical fact. When the Vietnam War started, they went out and recruited all blacks, a lot of blacks, to be the point person. They went back east big time, and you had a lot of blacks, black Americans. were killed in that war. That's very well. And so consequently, and I want folks to recognize there's a history there. So if you want to get the history of what Vietnam War and who the troops were during that time and who were the point troops. In fact, names like Colin Powell came up. That's how Colin Powell came. He could have been the president of the United States, but unfortunately, there was some other issues or whatever. So anyway, I need to get it. We're gonna get into the show, but I gave that introduction piece, and the person that I have here with me today, I would like for her to give me sort of an introduction into who she is, because you're going to be seeing her for quite some time, because I'm going to have individuals like her discussing her issues and accomplishments of various folks from our community, because we're in Oregon, the swamp, Portland, Oregon, if you will, and so we got some very positive things that have been happening, but the struggle keeps on. But we want to make sure that the people that are out there spend your time not on the negative side. How do you get involved, and how do we get our clean streets and take care of our kids and across the board, and And so we'll get into more of that piece. Miss Scott, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and I love to sit down with Bruce. Bruce is so comical. He keeps a smile on my face. Well, I'm Pastor Sheila Scott.
Yes.
And I am a marketplace minister. I get in the trenches. I go out, I travel abroad, state to state, one-on-one. I am ministering and trying to educate the community. First of all, I'd like to say happy Black History Day.
Yes.
To me, it's not just a month.
That's right.
We celebrate, we walk in this skin every day.
Yes.
And so Black History, when they say Black History Month, that doesn't resonate with me, because Black History is every single day. I am Black History.
Yes.
So that's every day of my life. But I am here to talk and discuss and educate my people, because I love my people. I love who I am as a Black person.
Yes.
I was raised as a Black lad.
Yes.
I am now a Black woman, and will forever be a Black woman. And so I embrace who I am, and I say to you, embrace who you are, love who you are, be who you are, because we have been called over the years many names, many types of names. For those of you that may remember my face, I drove public transportation, TriMet here in Portland, Oregon for over 20 years. And I tell my children, I say, I've been called every name in the book. And my sons say, no, Mom, somebody called you that? Yes. Yeah. When you have to walk the walk that we walk, you recognize, you have been called every name, And I can think back before my time, before they were saying Black people, and then it went from Negro to colored, and I mean, we've had a changing of the times. They changed the name, but as long as you know who you are and whose you are, it doesn't matter. Be comfortable within yourself, and everything else will be all right. But I'm here to talk to you about getting your business in order. I'm teaching a course, Bruce. I had a class on Thursday, February the 5th, almost 50 participants.
Wow.
Yes, and I'm teaching people about putting their business in order. The baby boomers are aging, people are getting older, and we need to educate ourselves on things that we need to know as far as having a healthcare representative. You can have a power of attorney healthcare representative. In case you become incapacitated, you have someone that can speak on your behalf. You can do a DNR, which is a direct, it's a DNR, my mind went blank, but
That's
it's
okay.
a directive.
Take time. Okay.
It's a directive, and you can get it from your doctor. You can get it, you can Google and get it online. But when you go to a doctor, you can, in your medical records, fill out a directive. And what you're saying is, in the case that you become incapacitated, you can no longer speak for yourself, would you want to be resuscitated? If you flatline, have a heart attack or stroke or some other type of situation, you get in a car accident and you can't talk, it's in your medical records. It says, all costs, I want to be preserving my life. And that way they will resuscitate you to make sure that your life, if possible, continues. We all know that God has the final say. At least my belief is that God has the final say. But you fill out these types of things, you put your business in order so that what I call dotting every I and crossing every T. If you own a business, if you own a property, you should or could have a trust. A trust is better than a will, because a will, your property will still wind up in probate. It doesn't matter if it's paid for or not.
What is probate?
Probate is a process that the government takes, that you have to put your name down as the person has this, the loved one, whoever's in charge of your estate would file a probate. And probate is three things: it's costly, it's very timely, and it is also public. So when you go to probate, you have to have a probate attorney. So somebody's going to pay for that attorney. The administrative of downtown, the state of Oregon, will charge you a fee for processing your paperwork. Then you're going to pay for a judge to sign off. So if you don't want to pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to do a trust while you're living, it will still come out of your estate. If you own real estate, somebody's going to get paid from your proceeds. Probate is a process that has to be entered in for 3 weeks. They will publish your name as being deceased in the newspaper. So creditors or people that you owe money, or anybody that want to say you owe money, they can see people that watch the ads. They will watch the ads, and if you owe them any types of money, they can file to receive that money from your properties.
You mean checking accounts? All that?
Checking accounts,
savings
if you
account.
have a 401k, you have monies, any types of money somewhere, if you have stocks or bonds, all these things come into play. That's a part of your estate. So you want to make sure, if you have that $1 million, $500,000 in the bank, you want to make sure that it goes to the people that you wish for it to go to, and not to the people downtown, because I believe it's around 25 to 35% that they will receive out of doing all of these things, which is getting you attorney. Well, you have someone in your family will have to get a probate attorney, and attorneys are $500 an hour today. They're going to charge your family. They're going to charge your estate. The courts will charge your estate. And then it takes a judge to sign off. Probate usually takes anywhere from 9 months to a year. And just think about it, Bruce. If a person still has a mortgage on their home, who's going to pay the mortgage? If no one's paying the mortgage when probate ends, because they can't sell the property while it's in probate. They can do nothing. Everything's at a halt. And you have to wait till probate is over. It could take a year. Say your mortgage is $2,000. At the end of that 2 years, that's $24,000. The bank's going to say, hey, where's my money? They want their money. They're going to get it from somewhere. Or they're going to file a lien on your property, and they're going to get it anyway, because if they put a lien on your property, chances are they're going to get their money. And I believe the state of Oregon says if you won't plan your estate, they'll do it for you. And they're going to grease their pockets and rub those nickels together. So it's imperative that we understand the difference of having a will or having a trust. It's great to have a will. If you set a will up, that's wonderful. You've started. But make the second step and get a trust, because your family, your legacy, your heritage, the people that you want, your loved ones, you want to leave them, with what you have worked so hard for. You don't want it to just go anywhere. And trust me, if you don't have family or you don't have children, there's black universities, HBCUs that you can leave it to. You can leave it to churches. You can donate to my ministry, my business. There's things that we need as a community. We need to have adult foster homes, Bruce, that can cater to our people, that know the types of food that we like, know the culture, and know how to treat you as a human being. So all of these things are important, but lining things up, it takes time. And also putting those things together for your loved ones, having a packet, placing it somewhere, letting your children know. That's the other thing. We are so, our generation, I know my mom's generation, are so private that we don't want to tell our children information. And when you don't share that information with your children, and they don't know, mom or dad had a house in South Carolina or Louisiana, and they don't have that information, how can they conduct your business if they don't know anything about that? So it's imperative that you sit down with someone. One, have a healthcare representative, someone that can speak on your behalf. Don't go to the doctors by yourself. If you don't have anyone to go with you, ask the doctor if you can put your sister or someone on the call and put it on speaker so that they can listen to the doctor giving you a diagnosis or talking to you, so they can better serve and care for you as your loved one. It's very important. We have so many seniors aging, so many seniors living alone. They don't realize, Bruce, today you might be healthy, next week you might wind up in the hospital.
That's right.
And the social worker will come in and ask you, do you live alone? Do you have someone at home that can help you? And chances are, if you live alone, 9 times out of 10, they will not send you home alone. They will try and put you in a nursing home. You have to have people advocating for you. You need the support of a team that can get in there. And the other thing is, being in the hospital, you need someone to come and check on you and make sure things are going smoothly, that the people in the hospital are taking care of you properly. They're not leaving you in the room without having your meals, or checking on you. Some of the places are pretty good, but there's always times that some things fall between the cracks. And so the more people you have advocating, and if you do wind up going into a nursing home, you have someone, like my mom broke her femur bone, and so she had to keep her legs stretched out for like a month. So that means she couldn't put her foot on the floor, and so she had to go into a nursing home to rehab. But we as a family rallied around her. We were in that nursing home every day, all day. They never knew when somebody in the family was coming in. And that way you can check on your loved ones and making sure that they are getting the best care that they could get. They deserve that. Yeah.
Well, let's keep going. I mean, you're doing well. You're doing
well,
so well.
Thank you.
I was wanting to interrupt, but I wanted you to go through that full flow. Now, there were some things there that I'm sure you can expand a little bit more, because you're giving information to folks in most cases, and a lot of times they just can't read all of that paper, that fine print.
Yes.
Got me? And they're getting fine prints. In fact, they have your Social Security number. Yeah. So by the time when you reach that retirement age piece, they start sending you burial things and things about the burial deal, and come here, come there, go this and that, and then they'll send you that paperwork. Got me? The next thing you know, you're signing something you don't know why you're signing it.
That's true, Bruce. I had someone call me, matter of fact, it was yesterday, that had fallen, had taken a fall, and had injured themselves because there was a pothole right here in the city, in the middle of the street. And because they had an injury and a lawsuit against the city of Portland, the attorney wanted them to sign some documents. that they don't quite understand. So a lot of times we have seniors or people with disabilities, or maybe you may not comprehend as much. You may not be able to read these documents that someone is pushing off to you. And even in the hospital and different places, you know, they give you a stack of papers, they want you to sign them. Even when you're buying or selling a home, they know that you're not going to sit there and read this fine print.
Yep.
You don't know what it says. You're signing
sign.
your life away. You're
Yep.
signing stuff. You know, stop, slow down. Take the time to say, let me read these papers, or let me get someone that will read these papers for me and comprehend them to help me understand exactly what am I reading, what am I getting ready to sign. You know, the insurance companies, when you get in an accident, they will offer you the lowest fee that they can offer you, down to the ground. And you look at that and you say, well, no, I have this spine injury, I have this going on. I know that 2 nickels is not enough, you know, if this is a lifetime injury. So being careful with documentation and not really understanding what you're getting ready to sign. There are people out here, as myself, that can do a service for you and read the documentations and explain it to you, and also help you to get an understanding before you sign something and then regret what you signed. And if you ever sign something, there's what they call buyer's remorse. You have, I believe it's 3 days to rescind that signature. So if you have signed something yesterday and you have an opportunity to look at it or get someone to look at it for you, you can go back. It's just like when you buy an airline ticket. They give you 24 hours to call back and cancel that. You know what, I don't think I'm going to Mexico, let me go over here to Thailand, and I want to change this ticket. So you have that opportunity. Stop and take time and recognize what you're doing. Don't be so quick because the insurance company have offered you 2 nickels to rub together. Because they're not going to give you the best amount the first time.
And on that particular point, and you said 3 days.
Yes.
Very interesting.
3 days.
But most times they get these letters in the mail and they just throw it in the corner for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, just so bad happened, maybe one of the kids or somebody comes by and say, well, hey, what about this? Well, I did something happened to me. Well, what do you mean? Yeah, I got letters. Somewhere. Well, we got to go over here. Well, I got this a month ago.
Yeah.
And then they read it. Fine print says, oh, by the way, in fact, not just read it, but a month ago, they send you a bill.
Oh, wow.
They send you a bill.
Yes.
And you say, well, look, I don't owe you no money. Well, did you get this letter on such and such a date? And it's documented. You know, so I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yes.
Because a lot of folks don't realize that, you know, thinking that we're talking Greek here now, okay? And it goes across the board.
Yes.
You know, and I might say this about yourself, and I know this is Black History Month. You're talking to, you know, to respect Black folks as much as you possibly can. But I also know that you represent, and you've been involved with white folks too. You've been involved with Oregonians across the board, and a lot of folks in not only just here in the swamp in Portland.
Yes.
And I use swamp at this point in time because we got our problems. Okay. But the bottom line is that you've administered, even the veterans. You've done some things. I've worked with you on the veterans aspect of it, getting their benefits, because that's what I do. And in fact, I'll make that point that if you want to talk to her in the future or whatever, you can give me a call, and I'll tell you how to get in touch with her. Aspect of it, because in all due respect, this is a non-profit organization we have here, and we're not doing any advertisement piece, but we can give resources. You got my point? And I'm a resource person. Okay. So, but the bottom line is that she's talking some things that a lot of times, and we're living in a commercial kind of an environment aspect of it. You know, this is only one country in the world. This is economics here in the United States of America. I mean, across, and everybody that comes here, and they want to come here because guess what? They can open up a business tomorrow.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And when they open up a business, and they'll take advantage of whatever's there that could help them get into the business. If your skin is whiter than mine, you go over here in this line. See, if your skin is darker than mine, you go with this line. You know, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And,
Right.
and I hate to be so funny about the piece, but it looks like that we're doing this homeless situation. The way the kind of advertisement we're getting here in Portland, Oregon, around this country, around the country, and they even advertise. Well, you can go to Portland, Oregon. You can get free housing. You can get free food. You can get free. You can go right down the line. So they're listening to this stuff. And in all due respect, I don't want to get. That's another subject matter that I'll be talking about in the future, about these folks that have been coming in from Mexico and other places, China, all kinds of folks are just coming into the United States and saying, oh, but what they're saying is that they said, well, they put out this piece about Sanctuary City. It's not just Hispanics or whatever. It's anybody.
Yeah.
If you're in trouble and you're an immigrant, and they're saying it on national TV, all you have to do is go to these places that have sanctuary cities, and nobody can touch you. Nobody can touch you. Whatever crime you can just come right over here. And so, so that's a tough situation. And so anyway, that's another subject matter. But let's get back down to, we're talking about Black History Month, and I want to make sure we're focusing on the folks we're talking about, and but that fine print is very, 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 very important aspect of it.
Yes.
And then the other thing I was going to throw out to you, think about the family members. I mean, I've talked with people that have been my guests and have called me up and from the standpoint of saying, well, gee whiz, we own homes here in the Northeast Portland corridor. We were fortunate enough to get a house back when. Now those same houses they paid $5,000 or $10,000 for are $500,000, and mom and dad maybe still there, or maybe mom is there, and then all of a sudden she gets to that point, well, gee whiz, I'm going to have to give it up. Well, two things happened. The folks who are out there in that real estate business, they know every piece of property in the city of Portland. They know who's living in it. They'll even pay someone to find out who lives in that property. Once they check it out, you start getting mail. You start getting mail. And when you start getting that mail, guess what? And they don't inform the kids because the kids are gone. Yeah. They've flown out the scoop. They've either left the state or this, that, and the other, maybe living here, or maybe even living in the house with mom. But then all of a sudden, guess what? Mom dies. No paperwork. As you say, no trust. There's nothing to protect that to the kid to know who gets this and who gets that. You know what I mean? Remember? Right? And then next thing you know, all of a sudden they get eviction notice. We own the property. I mean, another good example of that is, like you said, with the government situation. They got a thing called hospice.
Yes.
Hospice. So you might want to share that a little bit about what is hospice, if you will. That's another one of the government agencies that comes in, and at the end of the day, they send you a bill.
Yeah. Well, hospice is I don't know the legal definition of hospice, but hospice is when you're ill and there's no recovery. The doctors have decided that the illness that you have, you will pass away with that. And so generally, when you're in the hospital or you go to the hospital, at some point they will send you home and tell you that we're placing you on hospice. That's if you choose hospice. You have to the person has to decide they want to go into hospice. Sometimes they can say, I don't want to do hospice, but at that point the doctors they say they've done all they can do. And so you get the medical care, but you get the medical care at home now. Yes. The same staff goes at home. That's right. And even the doctor might call or whatever, he signs it out. Exactly. So if you opt to go into hospice, then hospice takes over. You no longer deal with the hospitals or 911 or any of those types of things. You don't call if you have an issue while you're in hospice. Whoever's caring for you, they no longer call 911. They don't call the hospital. They don't send you to the hospital. They then call hospice. Hospice has nurses that come in and check on you regularly. It could be 2 or 3 times a week or what have you. They write prescriptions for your medication. They delegate all those types of things. You have a care provider. The thing about Portland is there's not a lot of hospice places or even private places for hospice. But if they send you to a hospice place, they do have some. If they send you to a hospice place, that gets tricky because they can say, well, this senior owns a home and she live alone, but now we have to place her in hospice. And like Bruce said, maybe the children have moved out of town, they're not here, they're not local, you don't really have anyone that can advocate or care for you, so they place you in hospice, and then they may have you sign these papers. And here we go again with signing stuff that you can't read or haven't read, or you can't see the fine print because it's so small you can't read it. So you sign these documents, and then you've actually signed over your home. So once you pass away, hospice comes in and takes your home, and like Bruce said, maybe then the kids come to town, all of a sudden somebody's purchased that home, and there's a eviction notice because they're gonna move whoever or whatever's in the home out, and you no longer have access to that property or that wealth that maybe your loved one may have wanted someone in the family to have. So that's why it's imperative that while we still have a good mind, clothed in your right mind, and you have great thoughts, you can think about how you want your life to go and your legacy, what heirs you want to receive, whether it's your cars, your jewelries, your heirlooms, your homes, your real estate, your boats, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want and whomever you want to get it, then it's imperative that you take the time and begin to start putting this stuff into place. $3,000, $2,000, even $5,000 is nothing compared to what your loved ones will wind up paying if you don't put a trust in place. And there are several types of trust. There's irrevocable, there's revocable, there's living trust, there's trust that you can have the beneficiaries, you can name them your children if you have a sibling or whoever. This is your life and your choices. You decide how you want it to go, and you choose these things. You can only choose these things while the breath is running warm and the blood is in your veins. When the breath of life goes out, you can no longer make these choices. And not only that, also sometimes people will appoint a power of attorney. And I'm here to tell you, because a lot of people think they have the power after the person is gone. When the breath of life goes out of the person, so does that power of attorney. You have no more say once they stop breathing. So if you pass away and they say, well, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, you have no more power. Your power ends with the breath of life of the person. So it's imperative that we take time. You know, if you could watch a movie for 2 and 3 hours, you could take 2 and 3 hours to sit down and jot down what you need or want to do, and you can get an attorney. I may have some referrals. Also, I have Bruce, a friend who does trust for veterans, also for free. So if you're a widow and your spouse passed away, was a veteran, we can help you get the things that you need. Also, Bruce, in this community, we have some great resources for people. If you need a roof, if you need gutters, if you need windows, if you need a new furnace, if you need handrails, if you need grab bars in your bathroom, whatever it is that you need, I say to seniors, don't sit there and not have what you need, because you have lived this long. I'm sure you've worked very hard to obtain a home and the resources and the things that you have. And let's try to go in our community, each one teach one. Tell your friends, tell someone else the same information, because if they need something, a lady called me a week and a half ago and said her furnace was out. And Bruce, one of the programs you may have heard of, African American home buying program, she was able to get a brand new furnace $10,000 and she had to pay zero out of her pocket. And they are a very good organization. It's a nonprofit organization for African Americans, and they want to keep people in their homes. They want to help you upgrade your homes and bring the value back in your home. And so it's important to know that whatever you need, Jesus is not going to die and come back down here to give us nothing. But I believe that whatever you need is right here in the earth. You know, there are groups that volunteer to do stuff for seniors. They cut grass, they do repairs, they'll work in your yards. They will come and help you and service for you if there's something you need. But as the people say, a closed mouth never gets fed.
That's right.
So you have to open up your mouth and never be ashamed that it's something that you need. I need some grab bars in my bathroom because I'm afraid I may fall. And if you have those grab bars and you have something to hold on to, that could be the difference to you coming out of the shower and slipping and falling. So make sure you open up your mouth and let somebody know. And, you know, like Bruce said, you can get in touch with me by him, and I can direct you to wherever you need. And I want to say to the veterans, you know, we have veterans that do not realize the benefits that they have. There are so many veterans that have the ability to receive full benefits, but you haven't applied for them. You haven't taken the time. You don't have the patience. You don't want to go fill out the papers. You don't want to go see a doctor. And you could be having a great income to help with the quality of your life and your ADL, which is your daily living task, because you go to the veterans and let them know maybe you have PSD, maybe you have some other things going on. And if you Google it, you know, we all have these smartphones. You have the phone for a reason. Anything you want to know, you can Google, and it will tell you. You can put it on the microphone and just talk to it, and it will AI will bring up everything that you need to know, even give you a phone number. Also, veterans have benefits for burial. Their spouses have benefits for burial. You know, I don't know, Bruce, I wanted to ask you this question because I had a lady ask me, her spouse, who was a veteran, he passed away, but he didn't want to be buried in the memorial there. But what I wanted to know is, does she still have the same rights if she passed to be buried in the memorial? Where? But
like you said, you got to know, you got to go before he's gone.
She got to go before he's gone. Okay.
To set it all up, so to speak. Now there's some changes made as a result of just recently, if you will.
Sure.
And again, here we go again. There's businesses got up real quick, like, and has been sending material out to veterans about, well, look here, your options for burial has changed.
Wow.
Money. And so so all of a sudden you're signing papers again. Okay, so the name of the game is that, and that's some of the things that I try to do. In fact, I'm going to try to do a couple of shows on this piece. You can't do everything, just like you're talking about what you were just sharing and whatever, because I know you represent many things, and you've gotten that through the years. You got me? And so the name of the game, that's why I got to have you on more often, so we can take one piece at a time, so to speak. But getting back to this burial piece aspect of it, you got all kinds of options. You can collect to have your parents, your families, your kids, and whatever buried within the same grave. Well, it's all kinds of goodies. You can get there's all kinds of things, and like I said, I started out talking about veterans benefits, but I find I can't just hold their hands.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of things there. So I can just try to communicate, and I try to use this communication medium. I think I'm more effective that way by bringing a person like yourself on to talk about it. I can then I can send them to you for whatever services, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And I've talked to veterans as a result of your sending them to me over the phone. And then all of a sudden they start to a certain degree. And depending upon where they are in the deal, they still have access. And you're right. They do have access,
Yes.
but sometimes it's just too late. And I might add too, like the Vietnam War, a lot of the black men and women both got in the military during that particular time, and it was very discriminatory too at the same time aspect of it. And some of them got dishonorable discharge.
Yep.
They just walked away. I remember being in Vietnam, and I was on the base, and the old first sergeant would know that, hey, you better go get Bruce, because this black corporal wants to leave. He just wants to just walk away, and so he called me in. When he told me, Bruce, I got to get out of here. That's it. And he got a dishonorable discharge, and so I kind of like chatted with him. Later on in life, he found out that I was getting involved in this stuff and whatever. And I said, well, wait a minute, well, you can challenge it. All you have to do is just go to court.
That's right.
And then there's a process. You go through the military, they get it all there for you. And they check your records out, and this, that, and the other. And if you can document the fact that when all you do is just look at your records.
Yeah.
And then when you get caught in the military with anything negative or whatever, they put it down and write. That's your jacket.
Sure.
It goes with you forever. And all they do is just hit the last four, your Social Security number, and they can get that jacket, okay?
That's right.
And a lot of guys don't know this. And all of a sudden, they go there, they take it off, and they got access to full benefits.
Amen.
Otherwise, if you still got other this, normally they'll go in, and even in the V8 to a certain degree, the guy who's basically talking about your benefits, if you don't share anything, because all he does is hit at your last four, he goes to your job. Oh, this all you? No, you can't get anything. But no one knows about going to that next. You can challenge the fact of your undesired difference. You were legit when you got there, so as far as I'm concerned, it was like an illness.
That's right.
They call it PTSD, right?
That's
You
right.
get all kinds of. You get shot at, and this, that, and the other. You're wounded, but all of a sudden you get a dishonorable discharge, and you can't get any benefits. See, but my point, people don't tell you where to go.
Yes.
And I'll be right up front with you. That's just the way, here we go again. It's society. That's the way we live. So you need to know where. The military could do a little bit more.
Yes.
And I'm kind of lobbying a little bit too. That's one of the reasons why I run for office to a certain degree. Because I can sit at the table and say, come up with my deal, to put into the deal, to let people recognize the fact that, hey, look, the government needs to do a little bit more. What do you mean, Bruce? It's very simple. I think that, to me, as far as I'm concerned, they walk out with all kinds of issues. Why should the government, they got the jacket, why can't they send them an announcement, whether they were in a year or 2 years or this, that, and the other, send them the jacket. This is what you are, this is what's available for you. You get all the whole deal.
Yes.
Say, okay, then now you're out of the military, but you go to, you got these services, they give you a list, go down to the VA and take care of yourself.
That's right.
But they don't do that.
That's right.
They don't do that. Okay? So that's why I'm saying I'm just an advocate for it.
Yes.
You know my point? In fact, I didn't know anything about it. I mean, that's another, we can get another deal, but let's get back down to Black History Month aspect of it. Because the other thing, too, I keep going to that particular point to the viewing audience, because this lady that you're that's sitting here, sitting in that seat, by the way, she's assimilated. She's taking care of white folks, big time, all kinds of folks for that matter. And I know, because she shared that with me. And some of my friends, if you will, basically used her service, who were white, if you will, and took care of them at their home and stuff like that. Him and the guy and his wife, or his girlfriend, whatever. But my point is that she's very resourceful, and she's very familiar with what's going down, because when I'm just sharing this with them, is that when I met you through them, to a certain degree, there were other resources, and you basically went out to find out what these resources were and shared it with them. And it took your time. So you're not sitting here with someone that doesn't have the background. She's gone beyond just reading that small print. And a lot of folks don't realize that. That small print is very, very important. And especially now, I mean, to be able to move to Oregon right now with all that weather going on back east, everybody's moving here now. Now it's not about just Sanctuary City. See, the people who are moving in here now are challenging the Sanctuary City. You know, we got politics. You know, and these folks that are sitting up here who basically came here, who are waiting on a judge, so they can hear that problem. Why they came to the United States, because they were treated badly in that country. They're waiting on a judge. They haven't gone to the court yet, and the government is saying to them, "Well, we don't have enough lawyers." But and I hate to put this, but I got to play this politics with this piece. But all of a sudden, I get involved with Ted Kulingazi. He was governor, and he was up there trying to solve some of that problem during that particular time, and I got involved in the deal. So I'm sitting up here saying, "Well, now then I did my little research." And it was, no due respect, it was President Bush, President Reagan, and President Bush that opened up the gate the first time. They were both Republicans. Both Republicans. And now we got, just politicians opening up the gate. For whatever reason, they opened up the gate. It might have been voting, whatever. But my point is that they were sitting in the seat, they were able to do that.
Yeah.
And we allowed them to come in that way. But then after we allowed them in, we got the names, we got the addresses, and this, that, and the other. And these folks that came in here and took a whole bunch of people's jobs who were already here. And we got laws. I mean, you got to have laws that we have to live by, so we can survive. Right. And people are saying, they said, "Hey, I could care about the law. I'm here." And these people, I got to find me a place that's deep and eat. It's like it's a whole new slavery situation. It's a really sad note, and I'm sharing this because that's why I made that point initially, that this is Black History Month every day.
Every day.
Every day, right now, today. But understand, that's just the way this country is. It could have been Black History Month for Irish folks. But then someone that came up with a deal with Irish and Jews and all and basically said, well, okay, well, hey, look here, maybe we can just kind of separate them on culture. So white folks and then black folks and red folks and yellow folks. I mean, it's really. And so who put that stuff on the books and got it passed in Congress? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's, and and I've read all about this stuff, and like I said, it saves me a lot of times when I could Google. So I've been just Googling. Yeah. At one point in time, I said, well, I'm going to go on and pick up my degree. I'd been in school. At the bottom, I said, after I got Vietnam and whatever, and I said, gee whiz, I didn't even know what's going on because I was born in the South, right?
Right.
You got me? I didn't know what's going on. My parents weren't doctors and lawyers and this, that, and the other. But I was just a hustler, working hard. Yeah. But the bottom line is that nowadays, you can have 50 degrees, and if you can't meet the criteria of that owner, and that's a fact, because they got to making a property. It's a different situation, but that's what this country is built on: economics.
That's right.
Capitalism. And you got to understand, it ain't about no color but green.
That's right.
and no, I don't know about no green
they
folks.
Say money talks.
That's right, and everything else walks.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
that's a good point, Bruce. I want to go back and say something as far as talking about the veterans.
Yes.
One of the things that I found that we are very knowledgeable in a lot of areas. Bruce, it's not that we don't know things.
Yeah, right.
We just don't move and act on what we know.
Right.
And I want to say to people, especially veterans, if you have been in the military, I've talked to many people, and sometimes they say, well, I'm not eligible to get benefits, disabled benefits, or whatever they want to call them. I want to say that we need to, as a people, we need to unlearn to learn. We know too much. So even during COVID, a lot of things that went on during COVID, a lot of things changed. So what was then, it may not be now. So, so what I'm saying is, you may have thought that you're not qualified or eligible to receive those benefits. Stop thinking and do the work. Go down and apply at the veterans office. Go and apply. Walk through. I had a friend, Bruce had been encouraging him over times, that lived out of Mississippi. Finally, I think a year and a half ago, he said, wow, the veterans finally paid me my back money. And I want to tell you, it was over $100,000.
There you go.
And he was so shocked. He said, well, they gave me 70%. And I said to him, I said, you need to get 100%.
Get the other 30.
I said, you had your heart. He had an open heart transplant. Not transplant, open heart surgery at the age of 54. Has PTSD and some other stuff. I said, you need to get 100%. I called him 2 days ago, and he was shocked because now he's at 90%. And they back paid him. So he said they have one more decision, and they will. But he was like, no, he was saying they giving me this and I'm satisfied with. I said, let me tell you something. When you signed your name on the dotted line, remember they was doing, they was forcing people. The what you call it, the select
syphilis or something.
No, back in the 80s, when they was forcing African Americans to go in the military.
Vietnam.
It's something start with an S. I can't think of it right now. But anyway, they was forcing people to go to the military. I had a guy tell me recently that I was caring for. He said, I didn't want to go. But it wasn't about whether you wanted to go or not. The Census Bureau, not Census Bureau.
Oh, you're talking about expungement.
Yeah, when they was making people go.
Right.
And then you just had to go.
Yes, right.
If you didn't go, they was going to take you to jail.
Yep. I did
Am
that.
I right?
As a recruiter, I did that. In the court of the judges, I did that.
And
when I was a recruiter here.
When that happens, understand, you signed your name on the dotted line.
You're legitimate,
that you are going into the service. Okay, now they did German chemical warfare. They sprayed all this stuff that happened over Vietnam and different places that caused people ailments. High blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol problems, whatever your issue is. You need to go on down there. Don't walk, run.
And that's documented. Let's get at your point.
PTSD.
And that's documented.
That's right.
That's in your jacket. That's on your Social Security. The number in your jacket in the computer, master computer, is in your file.
Amen.
And all you have to do is point them to that file. They will open it up. And you go through. That's exactly what they did with that gentleman you were just talking about.
That's right.
And they don't volunteer that information. Because again, we live in a capitalistic society. And I'm not saying that's a negative thing, but imagine if you're telling everybody at one time, you'd be surprised at what the budget is that this country is paying for veterans to a certain degree. But it's owed to them because, like you said, they had to have warriors, and they were paying folks to get in the military at one point in time, but they didn't. But anyway, we're at that point here. It looks like we're going to have to just give it up at this point. We're going to have to continue this conversation, will you? Will you be available next time around?
Yes, I will.
Sounds great. Well, look here, folks. Well, now, hey, it's the beginning. Black History Month. Get there. Got me? And then for those on the other end of it, hey, if you're white, if you spent time in the military, get involved. Trust me. And you can look at the program. But this is Black History Month now. Okay? So get up, brother. Get off of it and get out into the VA. Okay? And take care of it. Okay? Again, I'm Bruce Broussard and Pastor Scott. Scott, is here with me. You have a good evening. Take care. Enjoy.